Last season was the greatest season in the history of Aveley Football Club as we finally won the Premier League after 15 seasons. Now we go into season 16 and we were runners up in the Champions League last year, and that is the only thing we've got left to tick off. Once we've done that, the road to glory has been complete. Right, so I know that will probably be an unpopular choice by many people, that this could effectively be the last season of the save. If we win the Champions League, like I said in the intro, the road to glory has been complete. Let's get into it because it is the 1st of July. We do have transfer activity to discuss. So leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel while we go into the transfers. And if we go into the transfer history, as you can see here, Andres Bedoya has left the club. He's gone to Al Tai in Saudi Arabia for 30 million quid. The club were unsure of why we've let such a useful squad player leave. But basically, I'll get into the ins and outs of it in a moment. We need to free up space in the squad in order to bring players in because of the eligibility criteria for Europe. And Andres Bedoya joined us, 5 years ago for 1.3 million from Junior in Colombia. This is just one example of some really decent transfer activity we've done since we've been at Aveley. Sold him for 30 million. That is a massive profit on a player that when he first came in was first choice, was really good for us, slipped away a bit towards the end, like last season. Only 4 starts, 20 of those 24 appearances were from the subs bench. The previous season it's pretty split, 15 starts, 16 subs appearances. The season before that started all 33, started 29, and then in his first season started all 36. So for the first 3 seasons he was a first choice for us. More of a squad player in season 4 and in season 5. Yeah, it is basically just someone that came off the bench, and we've got players already here that can actually do that. So no need to keep them around. There is other activity as well. If we have a look at released players, Chris McCausland has left on a free transfer. He's someone, not necessarily a great bit of business. We bought him for 12.5 million. He's been reasonable for us. He's been pretty decent. He's done a job, but he has gone on a free transfer. We haven't got anything from him, so we have taken a loss on him. If we go back to all transfers and back here, nothing else to bring you up to speed on here, but Deriva is the latest player to have come in. We've bought him for £53 million. He's a central midfielder, can play in this role here. He likes to be an attacking midfielder as well. We're going to be playing him in this role as a central midfielder on attack. Since we sold Lorenzi to Liverpool, I really did feel we were missing that it factor in midfield. And don't get me wrong, Adam Bartlett and Chris McCausland between them done a fantastic job last season, but they were massively overperforming in that role. And I didn't want to take a chance that Adam Bartlett was going to overperform for a second season. In addition to Adam Bartlett overperforming as a central midfielder for us, he is actually supposed to be one of our strikers. I am on the hunt for something better because Espirito Santo, don't get me wrong, he's been amazing for us. He's been here for 3 seasons, 19 goals in season 1, 17 goals in season 2, 14 goals in season 3. And in that season, he actually had something like a 15-game run in all competitions without scoring. And he was also injured a few times. Adam Bartlett, on the other hand, if we have a look at his figures from last season, he had a really good season. Bear in mind, most of the time he played in that midfield role. 11 goals and 6 assists from 36 appearances. And 26 of those league appearances were starts. A 7.11. It's the best season he's had with us, to be fair. So he really sort of came of age at the age of 29. He is technically in his peak now. But yeah, we have been looking for a striker, and we'll get to that in a moment. So there's some news on that. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with everything else we've got. We've got a pretty decent squad. The backups are fine. They do a job. I'm a bit annoyed with Anthony Geertz because I was looking at selling him this summer. We had Cardiff came in for an offer of 26 million for him. We accepted it very quickly, and he turned them down. So that was quite annoying because I'd like to move him on and bring somebody else in, because we are pretty much in a position where we have to sell before we can buy, sort of thing. And that's nothing to do with the finances. We've got 108 million in the bank. Unlike other saves I do. We're not hemorrhaging money all over the place. We've got nearly 40 million still in the transfer budget. We've got about 100,000 in the wage budget still to spend. We can always adjust that as well if we end up going over a little bit. But again, going back to transfers, Hugo Diabate, 20 years old. He is a 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential wonder kid. Playing up top, he's got 17 for finishing, 16 for technique, 16 for vision. His decisions 12, probably could do some improvement there. Composure 14 is heading in the right direction. He will come in as our brand new striker, basically. So Bartlett will be more free to play in the midfield, and Espirito Santo will be his backup, effectively. So once he comes in, that'll take us up, or keeps on 2.5, but hopefully that will go higher and higher. Lasana Haba, who ideally is actually left back, but we've been playing him at right back all last season. He started last season with something like 3 grey stars. He's now 3 golden stars. And if we look at him, again, wonder kid, 5-star potential. He's actually 3.5 star if you put him as a wing back on the right-hand side on defence. We've obviously got him as wing back on support. But yeah, really quite pleased with that. If we go to the competition and the Premier League, have a look at the season preview. We are currently sitting in 14th on this. Don't really take much notice of this because it's never been right in all the time we've been doing it. But if we have a look at our schedule, we've got all our friendlies lined up. But we've got West Ham in the Community Shield, so another chance to get a trophy there. Then we've got a pretty difficult start, actually, to life in the Premier League with Brighton, Liverpool and Newcastle. But then we play Cardiff, then we've got Hull, Bournemouth, Sunderland. So we've got some easier games after this one. But look, we won the Premier League last season. We need to kind of get rid of this inferiority complex that we have, because we are a really, really good team. The final of the Champions League, losing to Real Madrid, they've now become our arch nemesis. They put us out of the Champions League for the last 2 seasons. But can we win a Carabao Cup? Can we win an FA Cup? At the moment, it's about trophy collecting as we try to win the Champions League, and all our energy has to go into winning the Champions League. And if we do win it this season, then this will be the last episode of the Road to Glory save with Aveley. And if that does happen, in part 3, when we find out how the season unfolds, I'll go into more detail about what I've got planned coming up. I'm thinking of doing another Road to Glory save, basically because you guys seem to have enjoyed this one. So we'll do another one, but I'm going to do it a bit different to how we've done the last one, or how we're doing this one. But yeah, so that's where we are at the moment. I'm going to try and bring in some staff, because if you look at our staff, we're still gold on pretty much everything. But we've got a coach we can bring in, a head performance analyst needs to come in, a few scouts, a recruitment analyst, a loan manager, a physio and a couple of sports scientists. By the end of this transfer window, or by the start of the season, I want everything to be gold on there, and we have the best staff in the entire Premier League. So I'll bring you back when I know more about what we're doing. Oh, actually, one more thing before we do go anywhere. I want to talk you through my my logic behind transfers and stuff. So we have a look at this at the moment. We've got a squad of 22 players. Miguel Neto's just been trained at club, which was massive news for us. We've got 2 trained at club, and then we've got another 6 that are trained at Nation. Now, with the Champions League eligibility criteria, you have to have 8 players that are homegrown. 4 of them have to be at club. So the fact we've only got 2 homegrown at club means we have to leave 2 spaces in our 25-man European squad. So we can only register 23 players. So we've got room for 1 more, which will be the striker that's coming in. So basically, after he comes in, anybody else that comes in will only come in if somebody else leaves. Now, there is a bid coming in for David Mutangura. It's to go out on loan to begin with. And if he goes out on loan, if he makes 20 appearances for them, then they will pay a fee of 6 million up front and then another 5 million in instalments. So it's 11 million in total. And again, we look at him. We got him on a free transfer in the Championship from Reading. Make 11 million on him. That's another nice little bit of profit for us. So yeah, anyone comes in, it will be because someone's left. So I'll let you know shortly whether we've brought anyone in or not. Some more transfer news. A player in, first of all, Milan Markovic, 18-year-old wonder kid, 3-star current ability with 5-star potential. They're saying there might be too many forward-thinking defenders in the squad now, though. They don't know what they're talking about. He is a really decent player. He's 6'5", 17 bravery, 16 decisions. He can tackle, he can mark, he can head. He's got decent jumping reach as well. And he's only going to get better. Plus, he's a wonder kid, and I do love a wonder kid. So he joins the club for, what did I say he joined the club for? 5.5 million. So there you go. Really can't complain at that. That's a really decent fee for him. If we go back into the transfers, though, go to the transfer history, there's Milan Markovic along with Hugo Diabate. And then if we go back to last season, Deriva as well. So that's what, 53 million. Say another 20, 73, 78 million pounds spent on new players. Andres Bedoya, you knew about. David Mutangura has gone to Hellas Verona for a 1.2 million pound loan fee. And as part of that loan, there is a mandatory future fee. None of this fee if he makes a certain amount of games and all this sort of stuff for 9.5 million. It comes up in total to about 11 million pounds. So again, for a player that we got in on a free transfer back in the Championship, the fact that we've got a 1.2 million pound loan fee has already paid more than what we paid out for him. And then the £9.5 million will be a lovely little bonus to go into our transfer kitty, presumably for next season. That's pretty much it in terms of players in. We have had quite a few staff comings and goings. We're now fully stocked on sports scientists. We've got a physio coming in. I think if we actually have a look at the transfers, that's basically what all this is. It's players coming in. So yeah, we've got a physio coming in. We've got several scouts, recruitment analysts, a coach. We've offered our director of football a new contract because he's being poached by Manchester City at the moment. So we're waiting to see whether he's going to accept our offer or go to Manchester City. We have got a lot of clubs coming in for a lot of our staff. Everton have come in for one or two. Chelsea have come in for just about every single scout that we've got at the club. I've had to offer pretty much all of them new contracts to try and keep them here. It's just getting ridiculous. But I suppose when you're like us and you've got the best staff in the Premier League on planet Earth, I would even suggest, then it's no surprise. If we have a look at our pre-season friend list so far, it's been a breeze. America are a club that's meant to be on a similar level to us. We beat them 3-0. These three teams are all from China. We're meant to be a lot better than them, and we have been a lot better from them. We've got Ajax, Dynamo, Celtic and Lyon to come, so it'll be interesting to see how we get on in those games. But Bondarenko, I've got to say, has been having an amazing pre-season. 4 games played, he's got 4 goals and 8 assists so far. He really has been the standout player. And quite a few of them have been good, but he has been the real standout. So as we stand at the moment, I'm not necessarily looking at bringing anybody else in, but we have got an offer coming in for Bruno Carvalho for £36 million from West Ham. Basically, I got an intermediary to find him a club because he came to me wanting a new contract. I agreed to offer him a new contract. Then he wanted me to more than double his wages. Bearing in mind, at the moment, he's on 44,000. I think he was wanting something like £110,000 a week, plus a 25% sell-on clause. And I'm just like, no, you're not having that. And I took out the sell-on clause. I was going to offer him the 110,000, but because I took out the sell-on clause, his agent then upped his wage from 110,000 to 125,000. And I'm like, no, you are kidding me now. You're like trebling your wages now. So I lowered it to 110,000. I kept saying 110,000, and eventually they pulled out negotiations. He's not happy. He wants to leave. Fine, he can go. Miguel Neto is also unhappy. He wants a new deal to reflect his ability. He's the same as Carvalho. He's on £64,000 a week at the moment. He was also asking for £110,000 a week with a 15% sell-on clause. I took out the sell-on clause. He then doubled it to about 120, or upped it, I should say, to £120,000 a week. And again, I'm not prepared to match it. So we could be losing our 5-star rated midfielder. I'm more inclined to try and keep him than I am anyone else. But there is a possibility that Miguel Neto could be leaving as well. Bruno Carvalho definitely will be by the looks of it. And our new boy here, Milan Markovic, he's basically his replacement. And We will play him as a ball-playing defender because I believe that's what he wants to be. Let's just check that first of all. He's not being a wide centre-back. He'll be a ball-playing defender. He's got 5-star potential. So, yeah, he will like it there. And Bruno Carvalho is likely to be leaving the club. So I'll see you again shortly. So a director of football is leaving us to go to Manchester City. They're paying us £4.4 million in compensation to take him from us. I had no idea that he was that well thought. I mean, to be fair, he is an amazing director of football. He's only been with us for 1 year. I mean, he is fickle, so he's basically just gone with where the money is really. In terms of transfers, I don't think there's anything new to bring you up to speed with. You knew about Markovic, you knew about Bruno Carvalho. We have since offered Miguel Neto a new contract and he's accepted that new contract. We've got a few players that we've had to rest as well. Pre-season has been a bit intense for them. Maybe I did schedule too many matches for pre-season. I said about we had the games against Ajax, Dynamo, Celtic and Lyon, which will be 4 testing games. They've certainly been a lot closer. We were unfortunate to lose a game against Celtic 3-2. Bondarenko getting on score sheet again, as he did up here. Diabate has also got a couple of goals during pre-season as well, which has been good for us. We've actually looked really good in pre-season, I have to say. And these 4 games as well, minus the Celtic one, has really increased my belief that we can go close, if not win the Premier League again this year, and hopefully win the Champions League. So we're pretty much at the stage now where it's Community Shield Day. Our squad is still on the short side. If we have a quick look at the numbers, we have 22 people, so I am looking at bringing in 1 more. I would like to have a central midfielder because at the moment we've got Bruce Pratt that can cover here and here. We have Adam Bartlett that can cover here. After that, I don't really have too much faith in Daniel White, to be honest. Milan Markovic, obviously, he is our central defender, but he can cover in midfield. I'd like to have another midfielder that can cover these defensive positions, really. What we're classing, if we go to the tactics screen, as the central midfield role, the ball-winning midfield, deep line player. I'm happy here with Deriva and Bartlett. It's more the Jovanovic role that the only thing we've got to fall back on there is Bruce Pratt. And then after that, we're down to Daniel White. So if I can get someone in for these 2 roles, I'll be really happy with that. In terms of our finances, we do have £36 million still in the transfer budget. We're running out of wage budget, so we probably will need to alter that as well. But it's all looking good. And I think we'll call it a day there for part 1. And I'll see you in part 2. You'll find out whether we won the Community Shield or not. And we will be just about to play Liverpool. So I'll see you on the other side of the transition for part 2. So we are top of the Premier League table. We're 5 points clear of Manchester United and West Ham. We're 8 points clear of 4th place Man City, who, to be fair, Man City have not been particularly good this season. And Newcastle are in 5th, also 8 points behind. In terms of the player stats situation, Hugo Diabate, a new striker, has got 15 goals so far this season as a joint top goal scorer. And Bondarenko is second for the average rating, average rating at 7.36. If we have a look at the assists, then Bondarenko is 4th in the assists with 9. Trove is joint 4th with him, also on 9. Trove has had an amazing season. If we go back to the home screen, Diabate and Trove are actually our top goal scorers joint. Tanguy Trove has got 17 goals so far this season. He's also our highest average rating. This is obviously in all competitions, not just the league. Highest average rating at 7.44. Most assists with 13. Most player of the match awards with 9. I mean, I'm surprised he's not down here for yellow cards and pass completion as well, because he seems to be doing everything else. If we have a look at the schedule, in terms of the Champions League, we're doing very nicely in that as well, with a flawless 6 out of 6 in there. We'll have a look at the table first. So there we are, second joint top, 6 games played, 6 wins. So we've beaten Dynamo Minsk 4-0. Quite surprisingly, that game was played at a neutral venue. It's classed as our away game, but it was, when you looked at the actual, I'll show you in the schedule, but it was at a neutral venue. We also had a 4-1 win against Ajax, a 2-1 win against Real Madrid. We've actually beaten Real Madrid for once. 3-0 against Benfica, 2-1 against Copenhagen, and 2-1 against AS Roma. So, yeah, we're sitting pretty top of the group. We're pretty much already qualified with 2 games to go. We've got Juventus coming up very soon. Now, you might notice up here, it's the 10th of January. We're a bit late bringing you back into it. And I'll get to the reason why for that very shortly. But first, let's have a look at the schedule. We won the Community Shield with a 4-2 win over West Ham. Tanguy Trove getting a hat-trick and Noah Nicholson heading in from a corner kick. Brighton, we then beat 2-1. Hugo Diabate getting on the score sheet. He took a bit of a while to get going, Diabate. He scored here, but then, as you can see from here, didn't score for quite some time. It was actually down here against Everton was the next time he scored, and he got 2 goals there. And pretty much since then, there's been no stopping him. He's been scoring pretty frequently since then. We then had a 3-2 defeat at home to Liverpool and a 1-0 defeat away to Newcastle before hammering Cardiff 6-1 in the league. Then winning 2-0 against Preston in the Carabao Cup third round. In terms of the Carabao Cup, we've beaten Preston in the third round 2-0. We've beaten Newcastle 3-0 in the fourth round. We then went and beat Leicester 1-0 in the quarterfinals. Now, for the Carabao Cup, the Newcastle game, we put out a full-strength team. But against Preston and Leicester, as you can see from the team here, of Fernandez, Capacho, Mendoza, Galena, Mbemba, Pratt, White, Bartlett, Geertz, Alessandra, Espirito Santo, we've basically been having our reserve team, or a second string team at least, playing in the Carabao Cup in that round, and again, like I say, in the fifth round against Leicester as well. Against Newcastle, we took it a lot more seriously in that one, because obviously it's Newcastle United. If we'd put a reserve team out there, we'd have got absolutely spanked. We did still play Geertz though. And there's just generally been some really good results here. Copenhagen we beat 2-1, Bournemouth we beat 1-0, Hull 4-2, Sunderland 1. We had a really nice run here, and then we played Manchester United away at Old Trafford and won that 2-1. We then lost to Arsenal 3-1. And at this point, we'd got all the way down here. We hadn't even drawn a game this season. And then in the Premier League against West Ham, 2-2 draw, Bondarenko and Jovanovic with the goals for us in that game. And then as we scroll further down, we then had a draw, 0-0 draw against Chelsea. That's the first time this season, I think, other than Newcastle, since Newcastle, that we'd failed to score in a game. Then a 5-1 win against Leicester in the league with our full strength team this time. Then we beat Liverpool 3-2 in the return leg. So they beat us at our ground, we beat them at their ground. But then a 1-1 draw against Swansea in the FA Cup third round. And, again, we had some of our reserve players in there. Capacho. Actually, no, we went pretty full strength. I thought we'd actually rested some players in there. We'll get to Fabio Nunes in a minute as well, and his injury record is just ridiculous. And then a 1-1 draw just recently against Brighton. Now, the reason why I wanted to delay coming back until now is because there's been a couple of signings that have made. And if we have a look at the ins and outs, Bruno Carvalho did go out, but I think you knew that anyway. He went out for 36 million. Since you were last with us, Milan Markovic was the last signing we'd made. We've now gone and signed one Carlos Canas. We've basically been wonder shopping, is what we're saying. And or wonder kid shopping, I should say. And he looks a really decent player. He's come in and he's 18 years old, 2-star current ability, 5-star potential. And I think he's got the ability to be a really decent player. So he's in at the moment. He's in our under-21s, but we bought him in, like I say, for 5 million. Can't complain that. 6.75 million. We got Ronaldo Pineda, Mexican 20-year-old wonder kid, 4 stars of ability. It doesn't think he's going to get any better, but he's a central midfielder, can play the advanced playmaker, the central midfielder, the deep line playmaker. He can also do Mazzara if we want him to. I mean, he can basically do whatever he wants to do. He's just a really, really good player. And he's an improvement on Deriva, which I have to feel quite sorry for Deriva because, we paid £53 million for him in the summer. And we've already found a replacement for him, even though he's actually not been playing that badly. So, 6.75 million, that was his release clause. Then another release clause was Adeo, £15.25 million for a Brazilian wonder kid, 3.5-star current ability potential, 4.5-star goalkeeper. He's better than Fernandez. is an improvement on Fernandes, and at 15.75 million, it just seemed like a snip. I mean, he's already got the value of up to 78 million. You know, these are players we can all still sell at a profit later on, should we need to. And if we have a look at our tactics now, what that means is there's Fernandes in goal, there's Deriva in the middle of the field there. If we bring in Pineda, is he the Uzu now? Yeah, Pineda there, that straight away bumped him up to 4-star. Bring Adeo, that's basically bumped that up as well. It's automatically an improvement, you know. And like I say, poor old Deriva, I do feel sorry for him because he's not going to make it as a box-to-box midfielder, so I'm not really sure what I'd do with him. I mean, I have done a much better job of rotating our players. We've been moving players around quite nicely this season and giving people a rest and whatever else. And I think that's highlighted as well by the fact that these are not just all dark red now. The only one that's really dark red is Cesar Segura, who's our backup now third choice goalkeeper. So I'm probably going to look at, I don't know, I'm probably going to see if I can move on Fernandes because he's probably going to get the ump. But it might be Segura that I'll try and move on. Anthony Geertz, if we go back into the transfer screen, he's on his way out. He's got a transfer range with Wolves, or being discussed with Wolves, for 7.75 million. If he goes, and I say if because he's had the opportunity to go previously and he's turned it down, but if he goes, then I won't lose any sleep over that. He's going to be going in the summer anyway on a free transfer. Yes, he has a value of 26 million, but 7 million is better than nothing. So I'm quite looking forward to him going. Now, if we go to the medical centre, actually, no, we're not going to go to the medical centre. We're going to go up here. I want to find Nunes. Where's he gone to? This man, 4-star, you know, he has been described as a wonder kid. He's got a value of near on 100 million. And as you can see from his history, I mean, 7.17 for us this season, 7.03 there, basically a 7 there. He's been an awesome signing for us, and we only paid 4.8 million for him. And again, a value of up nearly 100 million now. He's so good. The problem is his injury record is horrendous. This is his injury record for this season. If we scroll down, 7th of August 2038. So this down here was his first injury this season. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 injuries this season. And we're only at the halfway mark. Remember the number 9 as well. He's had pulled ankle ligaments, tight hamstring, stub toe, twisted knee, tight hamstring, pulled groin, tight groin, bruised knee. I mean, basically his hamstring and his groin are just non-existent. And if we actually do go to the medical centre and have a look at our injuries, we've had 35 injuries. 9 of those injuries have been from Fabio Nunes. 9 of the 35 have been him. None of them have been significant or anything like that. But it's just so frustrating that he plays a game, gets injured, plays a game, gets injured. And because they're these silly little things, it just means he then misses the next game. And it's just so frustrating, it really is. But yeah, it's been an amazing start to the season, first half and a bit of the season. Community Shield is already in the bag. That will already be displayed on our end of season review. Carabao Cup, we're in a semi-final. We have to take that seriously now. It's the semi-final. Struggling to get past Swansea in the FA Cup. We've got Brighton waiting for us next if we do get past them. Champions League looks like we're definitely going to be in the knockout stages, and we're 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League. So I'll see you in part 3 to see if we manage to win any of these and if this little one here is finally coming to Aveley. Well, not only have we won the Premier League, we've won it at a canter. 14 points ahead of Manchester City, who finished in second place. Now, I will tell you, it weren't quite as straightforward as what that looks, because a few games ago, probably about 4 or 5 games ago, we were 5 points ahead of Manchester City, having previously been 12 points ahead of them. They reduced it to 5 points. And then we had a game against Man City. And I always knew that if we could avoid defeat in that game, we'd be big favourites for the last 3 or 4 games to go on and win. Little was I expecting Manchester City to fall off quite the way they did towards the end. So if we look down here, you can see that they've got a Europa Conference League final. I mean, that's something else. Well, Man City in the Europa Conference League. I mean, what is happening there? But yeah, they played us here. At that point, we were, like I say, 5 points ahead of them. They've gone on a massive winning run. We were 5 points ahead of them. We got a draw 1-1. And then they beat Real San Sebastian in the Europa Conference League semi-final. But then in terms of the league, they then lost to Aston Villa, lost to West Ham, and then smashed Ipswich. But them two losses to Villa and West Ham was what really cost them, because we then won a couple of games after that. If we go to our schedule, or actually we go to the competitions, because the one you're all wondering about is the Champions League. Did we win the Champions League? Is the save over? Is the road to glory complete? No, it's not. We got knocked out in the semi-final by, guess who? That's right, Real Madrid. So I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed with Real Madrid now, because they knocked us out a couple of years ago in the round of 16, I think it was. Then they beat us last season in the final. This season they've beat us in the semi-final. If we have a look at the actual, from the round of 16 phase, we beat PSG 5-3 on aggregate in the round of 16. Then we came up against Tottenham in the quarterfinals, and we won that 3-1 on aggregate, a 1-0 home win and a 2-1 away win. A 2-1 home win and 1-0 away win. And then we come up against Real Madrid, and it was the away leg that got us. In the away leg, we go to our schedule, because this bit confused me because it looks all wrong. If we go to our schedule, the Real Madrid tie here. So the away leg, we lost 3-0. They battered us in that leg at the Bernabeu. Then the home leg, in front of 86,917, we won 2-0. So in terms of where we're playing our Champions League games, a couple of seasons ago we was at Stamford Bridge selling that out. And then last season we was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium selling that out. This season, as you can see by this game here, we're playing at Wembley for our Champions League games. And we've sold out Wembley Stadium, 90,000. Okay, 45,000 of them were away fans. But even the Real Madrid game, 86,917 capacity with 10,500 away fans. That's still 76,000 Aveley fans. Yet the board still think it's perfectly adequate to have a stadium that you fit just 6,000 people in. I don't understand it. In real life, that would never happen. And I think that's a massive flaw in the game, that the board can't see that they're losing out on a massive amount of money. And when I say losing out on a massive amount of money, the game against at Tottenham, that set the record for our highest gate receipts of 3 million. So if you're looking at, even if you don't make 3, if you make 2.5 million per game, and you're playing 25 home games a season, you take into account all cup competitions, you're looking at a windfall of 75 million that you're not getting. And that's just from rough workings out, basically. But yeah, so the last time you was with me, I think you knew about the 1-1 draw against Brighton. We then went and beat Swansea in the FA Cup third round replay 5-1. We then went and beat West Ham 1-0 in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. We also beat them later on, lost to them actually, but we won on penalties. So we lost 2-1 overall, but won on the penalty shootout. We beat Juventus. No, we didn't. We drew with Juventus 1-0 in the Champions League. We beat Brighton in the FA Cup fourth round 1-0. Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League, no match for us, 4-3. I mean, it was a lot closer than I'll make it out. Then a 2-0 win against Bournemouth in the league. Then came that game against West Ham. Then we went on a little winning run in the league. We had some back-to-back league games, Sunderland, Newcastle, Everton, Cardiff, all games we would be expected to win anyway. Then came the Carabao Cup final, and we lost to Manchester City. Between Man City, Man United and Real Madrid, they're three teams that when this save is eventually finished, I'm really not going to be sad to see the backs of them, quite honestly. Then we had West Ham in the FA Cup fifth round, and we won that on penalties as well after a 1-1 draw. Then we played Arsenal in the league with a 1-0 win. We then had PSG in the round of 16. Like I say, got through that with 2 wins. In between that, we had a draw against Fulham. We weren't drawing too many games prior to that. We had a little flurry here, but we had a little spell in April where legs and tiredness and all that sort of stuff was really catching up with us. And we beat Ipswich in the league. We had the 2 games where we won against Tottenham. In between that, we had a 0-0 draw with Aston Villa. Kind of like when you look at the PSG games, we had a draw against Fulham sandwich in the middle. The game against Tottenham, we had a draw against Aston Villa sandwich. 2 games, Fulham and Villa, we should really have won. Then we lost to Newcastle on penalties, actually losing a penalty shootout this time in the FA Cup semi-final. And I realised just before that game, we've never been in an FA Cup final. And that's something that I would like to put to rest by the time this save's over, because to not be in an FA Cup final in 16 years is pretty poor, really. But then we got 2 draws, West Ham and Manchester City. Then we had that defeat against Real Madrid. Then we beat Tottenham. Then we beat Real Madrid. Lansana Haba put us 2-0 up in the 68th minute. And it was all us. We was really going for it in that game. And I think we was really unlucky not to have got a third and at least taken it to extra time. But then we finished the season with a 3-0 win against Chelsea, a 3-1 win against Southampton, and a 5-1 win against Leicester. If we have a look at our home screen for a moment, Hugo Diabate is on 32 goals for the season. He's now holds the record for our top most amount of goals in a season, that was previously held for Matt Rush for the past 14 years, but is now the proud ownership of Hugo Diabate. And if we look at him for his league form, I mean, this guy's been insane. 7.06, 5 player of the match was 21 goals in 35 appearances. If he could get a few assists in that as well, he would be absolutely mental, this boy, really would. We go back and obviously Bondarenko plays well for us, as is Tanguy Trove. Them two, along with Diabate, have just been sensational. Milan Markovic, best pass completion, 95%. We'll get through all of that when we get to the end of season review, which will be very shortly. In terms of the finances, 56 million in the bank. That's going to go up with all the money you get coming in at the end of the season. Our transfer budget for next season is 74,297,000, and a £2.3 million wage budget as well, which has also been increased. If we have a look at our actual squad in terms of squad size, Mutangura is obviously not going to be here. That's why he's not in this squad. We currently have a squad of 24. We know we can only have a squad of 23, so therefore, but Segura will be going anyway. And then it's a case of just moving on some players that are not our homegrown players. So these ones we don't want leaving the club. And if we look at the actual contract, there's no one due to be expiring a contract. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we need to keep something. What I will say actually is Canas, the guy we brought in the summer, I can't find him on it now. Here he is, Juan Carlos Canas. We've played him in the last few games because I wanted to give him enough games to get a Champions League medal. And he's been really good. 2 goals, 4 assists in 5 games in the league at 7.68. Bondarenko has got some serious competition there. And in actual fact, I'm going to move him to the senior squad now. And we'll go to training, to mentoring, and we'll rearrange all that as well. So I want to make sure, Canas is in a mentoring group. So, he's been really good. I've been really impressed with him. So, the summer, in the next episode, we'll come back on the 1st of July and we'll see who we've kept and who we've got rid of. We might be looking at getting rid of, like, say, Mbemba or Carpaccio, more likely Carpaccio than Mbemba, to be fair. Leonardo Fernandez is probably going to go, and we'll probably keep Cesar Segura. It's just going to be a case of seeing who we can move out before we bring anyone in, because we do need to make this squad better than what it is, ready for next season. And it's all about year-on-year improvements. Next season will be the same objective as this season, and that's to win the Champions League. So Premier League, comfortably winners, 88 points, ahead of Manchester City by 14 points. Semi-finalists knocked out by Real Madrid in the Champions League. Semi-finalists of the FA Cup knocked out by Newcastle. Runner-up in the Carabao Cup. And we obviously have the Community Shield to win as well. So we're going to have 2 trophies on our end-of-season review screen thing, which we've never had before. So let's go to the end-of-season review, and I'll see you over there. Here we are then for the end of season review. 2 trophies there, the Community Shield and the Premier League title. Back-to-back Premier League winners, by the way, is what I've had in. So let's have a look at the new arrivals. So we've got Juan Carlos Canas for £5 million from Getafe, 6 appearances, 2 goals, 4 assists, 7.40. Absolutely delighted with him. I think he's going to be a real player for us next season. B- from the board. Adeo, A+, from Corinthians for 15.25 million. He came in for the second half of the season, made 33 appearances, no goals and no assists, which you'd quite expect to be the case. 7.12, had a really good half of the season. Hugo Diabate, I mean, he's got a C plus there. I don't know why he's rated so lowly, yet he's our star signing. But 19 million from Lyon, 58 appearances, he was just fit all year round. 32 goals, 3 assists in all competitions at 7.09. Like I say, he's taken Matt Rush's record for most goals in a season. Those of you that have been following Aveley since the start of the Bottoms Up series will all know about Matt Rush, how fond I am of him and all that sort of stuff. It's a shame to see Matt Rush come off that list, but Hugo Diabate is definitely worthy of being on there. Ronaldo Pineda, who also came in for the second half of the season from Atlas, 6.75 million. I mean, he's a bargain already. 6.9. I don't know how that's as low as 6.98 when he's got 11 goals and 4 assists in 30 appearances. Deriva, who came in from Hoffenheim for 53 million. He was a player we bought in. I'm not sure if I actually mentioned him in part one, but he came in originally towards the end of the transfer deadline. Like I say, £53 million. He's made 63 appearances, 6 goals, 10 assists at 6.96. He's been amazing, which you'd expect him to be for the 53 million. But Ronald Pineda's kind of overshone him, or outshone him, I should say. And for only 6.75 million, he's a wonder kid, as is Adeo. As is as well Milan Markovic. So Deriva was a C minus, Pineda was a C. Markovic a B minus, £5.5 million, 60 starts, 1 substitute appearance, 5 goals, 6 assists with a 6.90. Again, what a signing this boy. We are picking up some really, really amazing signings, and this is just an example of that. In terms of transfer out, Anthony Geertz, they don't like it. We made a loss on him, but we just wanted him out. 7.75 million to Wolves. Andre Bedoya went to Altai for 30 million. Made a profit on him. Bruno Carvalho, we made a profit on. He went to West Ham for 36 million, and Chris McCausland left on a free transfer. Enough said about that. The better. We just wanted him gone as well. If we have a look at this part of the season review, season to remember, first in the league. Obviously, we're filling out our home attendance every year. Don't get me started on the stadium side of things again. Hugo Diabate, top scorer with 21 goals. He was actually the joint top goal scorer in the Premier League. Norberto Ray of Tottenham also getting 21 goals. So great achievement for him. We've got an A+ for winning the league, as I think we should do. We only lost 4 games. They were against Man City, Arsenal, Newcastle and Liverpool. We drew 7 games, which were against Man City, West Ham, Villa, Fulham, Brighton, Chelsea, West Ham. We had a goal difference of +50. We had the best defensive record in the league, the best attacking record in the league. We were just easily the best team in the Premier League last season. We kind of know about all this anyway, so we've already been through it. But the Champions League, it is. I mean, it's saying 6.125 thousand average home attendance. It's obviously not including the Wembley appearances in that. They wanted us to reach the Champions League proper. We got to the semi-final. FA Cup semi-final, Carabao Cup runner-up, Community Shield, we beat West Ham. In terms of biggest wins, 6-1 win against Cardiff, 3 goals from Bondarenko, 3 goals from Tango Trove. Match to remember was a 4-3 win against Borussia Dortmund. That really was a proper good game, and we even had 2 players sent off with Deriva and Leighton Alessandra getting sent off as well. It all happened in that game. Goal of the season was Adam Bartlett. Lovely goal from the Millers attacking midfielder Bartlett as he scores a powerful effort from 21 metres. That was in our 4-0 win against Dynamo Minsk. Having a look at this, I'm not really sure how we lose broadcast revenue and competition. Maybe because we didn't get to the final of the Champions League. But it's all pretty healthy anyway. Club reputation is 4.5 stars. No new sponsorship deals. In terms of our merchandise, we made 7.17 million in shirt sales. And we sold 520,674 shirts. I think that's internationally, that one. With Bondarenko, Trove, Nicholson, Deriva and Jovanovic being among the best shirt sales. Our best 11, we're getting a lot more green in here now than we usually do. Adeo, Nunes, Haber, Markovic, Nicholson, Neto, Jovanovic, Deriva, Trove, Bondarenko, Diabate. I don't argue with that too much. I'd only say Pineda probably would go in that one there. In terms of the accolades, I won Manager of the Year and 4 Manager of the Month awards. Tanguy Trove is the fans' player of the season. Adeo is the young player of the season. Sign of the season is Hugo Diabate. Adam Bartlett with goal of the season. Top goal scorer Hugo Diabate. Most assists Andrei Bondarenko with 21 assists. Most player of the match awards was Tanguy Trove. Highest average rating was Andrei Bondarenko, and most passes completed per 90 minutes, Andy Mendoza. In terms of record breakers, like I said, Hugo Diabate has broken the record for the most goals in a season. He now holds that at 32. Most assists by player of the season is Andrei Bondarenko with 21 assists. Tanguy Trove has broken the most player of the match awards in the season with 13. And most league appearances by a player. Bruce Pratt is still there. All the time he's at the club and making league appearances, that will keep going up. I am really quite keen for that to get to 300 because it's just a bit of a better number than 200, isn't it? So, yeah, well done to Bruce Pratt. He's still here. He's still plugging away, barely getting a game, but holding up a homegrown spot for us. So we've got to be very proud of him. And if we actually look at him now, I mean, he's been with us since League Two. And, you know, he's almost your modern day Jamie Vardy type person. He didn't make any appearances in League Two. I think he joined us at the end of that season. So really he's been with us since League One. But yeah, got him on a free. 290 league appearances, 4 goals, 27 assists. We could get 12 million from him. I think he does actually want to go, which we really don't want him to. But yeah, great player he's been for this club. That spell of football in the middle of the season was the making of Aveley. It really set them up for success. Aveley looked a class above anyone else when they got going in the middle of the year. Few would have expected this outcome, but they gave themselves a chance and have reaped the rewards. Manager timeline is what the manager timeline is. And that brings us back to here. One thing I did want to show you as well from here is that Fabio Nunes has won the young player, the English Players Young Player of the Year award. 26 appearances, 6 assists, 6 clean sheets. 7.15, 22 years old. He is really good. And if we actually look at his medical report as well, you remember early on in the season, I said that he'd had 9 injuries by the end of the first half of the season. He's only had 11 in total. Not 11 since then, but 11 in total. 2 more since then. So yeah, we took him up to a bruised knee, and then he had a gash lower leg and a pulled thigh. One in February, one in March. So he's actually had a better second half of the season. But even so, 11 injuries for him is just mental. Then we look at the injury history for us as a club. It's actually been a pretty decent season. We had a bit of a spike here and a bit of a spike there, but the rest of it has been either below or in line with last season. 55 injuries, expected 72. If we look at staffing, that's all the best in class. And I do want to show you our director of football. So we did bring a new director of football in. I need to find him first. Where's he gone? Here he is. Marcus Mann is the guy that's come in. 19 for judging playability, 20 for judging player potential, 16 for negotiating. He's basically as good as what Herrera was, that Man City paid 4.4 million for us from, and I think we paid about 700,000 for him. So can't really complain at that, can you? So yeah, that's pretty much it for the season. I'm going to be sitting down now and doing some squad planning, because we've obviously got a Deo that's going to be up there. I'm probably going to look at selling Leonardo Fernandez. He is wanted by other clubs. If we look at his actual value, 32 to 39 million. If we can get anything around that for him, I will be absolutely delighted. He's been a good servant for us over several years. Really good goalkeeper, but Adeo is just that next level above. And yeah, it's pretty much going to be putting our best 11 in here. So it'd be a case of putting Bondarenko in there, for example, because he is a better player. Making sure we've got everyone we would want to have. So that is basically our starting 11. And going to our scouting reports and seeing if we can actually find someone that is better than what we've already got. I do want a wide player, because even though we've got Canos that can play wide, we have Bartlett that can play wide. There's not really... Leighton Alessandra is the one that can play on the left-hand side. But I actually want to get rid of him, and he's planning on leaving on a free transfer at the end of next season anyway. So if we can just... What I'll probably do is add him to the unwanted list, sell or release, and just let my director of football take care of that. Because then once he's gone, we know that we can then bring in a player that is able to actually play to a better standard out wide. It does mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're only going to have 6 players homegrown at Nation, but it still doesn't affect the things. We've got the 4 players at Nation, then the 2 at clubs. It's still the 2 players we need to leave out, which would be a 23-man squad. We looked at this earlier on, Nation team got 24. So if we can get rid of Alessandra and get rid of Leonardo Fernandez, then that will take us down to 22, which means I can bring in a left-sided player. And then it is literally 1 in, 1 out. And it'll be a case of seeing what happens. It could be a very uneventful part 1 of the next episode. But that's all for next week. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. Leave me some comments as well. Always love reading those. And I'll see you next Sunday at 12. No, I won't. Next Sunday at 2 p.m. How did I forget that when I've been doing this every Sunday for God knows how long? But Sunday at 2 p.m. for the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.